Hey, I'm Mayor Briton Williams. Join me as we explore everything North Augusta. We'll talk state of the city. We'll highlight our vibrant events and areas of the community, showcase our hidden gems, and promote the buzz on our local businesses and citizens. We will share and learn together about our amazing town and everything that makes us South Carolina's riverfront. Let's get started.
Down by the river where the stories unfold, come explore, see what you'll find.
Hey everybody, I'm very excited about this episode. We are kind of titling this Small Business Big Impact. And I have two of our prestigious downtown business owners. And first person that we're going to talk to in a little bit is Mr. Brad Pond. I've known Brad and his wife Mandy for a lot of years. And Brad's a local boy and really want to kind of hear his story of growing up in North Augusta. Where did he get the entrepreneur bug? Because he's had some other businesses, but really why he feels ready based on experience to buy Cavaliers and kind of his vision where he wants to take it. And then this young lady to my right, Miss Tia Harville and her husband Joey, they moved here about 7 years ago. I think she's gonna tell us that she's fallen in love with the city. I hope so, but they love it enough to want to invest in starting a business. So I want to kind of hear their story, and then we're going to talk all things about what kind of support you're getting from different organizations, their perspective on good or bad with the city, where they feel like how they're impacting this community and is community impacting them. So I think we're going to have a great conversation. Very excited about both of y'all. So welcome to Explore North Augusta, both of you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Pond, start with you. Just people can ride up and down. I know you were in the military. You can see your banner up there, serve the country. But tell a little bit about you being here in North Augusta, because you are a man that everything you touch seems to be successful. Because you've done
not everything,
but you've done a lot. So a lot of entrepreneurship. You've had other businesses, but tell us about your background and kind of lead us into why you are where you are now with Cavalier.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you point out, kind of a local boy vibe. Graduated North Augusta in '91. Played on the state championship football.
Oh, did you really? Okay.
I sure did. Yeah, that's a couple pounds ago, but definitely. And grew up here. Left for about 6 years. I was in the submarine force with the U.S. Navy, and always knew that I wanted to come back and start a family and raise a family in North Augusta. The support that I recall from growing up, and just the people that we knew, there was a network there that obviously when you run around the globe a couple of times in a submarine, like that's a close family, but the one that you live with out here is a little different. And I wanted to get back to that. I also knew it was a great opportunity and a place for me to, kind of drive my own destiny. The city has been always supportive of the different adventures that I've gone on. You asked where it started. Like, I kind of classify myself as a serial entrepreneur because I have done a number of businesses. But I think the very first one I can recall was I was charging a quarter for people to come in my basement and play video games on my Atari way back in the day. So, it's just always been there. So, but we would have the neighborhood kids over in Edgeville Heights coming down into the basement and playing video games and that kind of thing in the summertime. Fast forward, I had the Inside Drive over at Augusta for a little while. That was an indoor golf simulator. Yeah. And then, I've done a lot of mom and pop kind of websites and technical support development over the years and helping everybody else get like an online presence going, some social media consulting, those type of things. But probably the most recent experience that led me towards Cavaliers was I had the opportunity to launch a thing called Motor Keg. And I got to tell you, the city rolled out the red carpet for that business, which was really edgy and different and nothing that had been done around here. And, typically government won't be like all down with that. They'll be like kind of pushing back. But we had a situation where the city was on board with us doing something different, rolled out the red carpet, gave us everything we needed to do to be successful. And that business has been up and running for 4 years now. It started off as Tap Truck Tuesday.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's a mouthful. So we changed it to Motor Keg because it's motors and kegs of beer, and it just made sense. But that gave me the opportunity to get my feet wet with the customer service, being in the public, working with beer and wine, and that led me towards the opportunity to purchase Cavaliers, and that's been a great fit. It's been part of the expansion of the coffee shop model towards the kind of beer garden that we're sitting in now. This courtyard is a fabulous resource for the community, and those experiences, the good and the bad, kind of lead you to where you are as far as small business goes.
The piece of the bar, that's all would really be an untapped potential, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I saw from the outside looking in was that the space had all of the bones, had all of the potential. It was just a matter of adjusting a couple of levers to get to where we are today. And earlier this week, for those who might be just kind of catching up, we blew out the wall between what was the event space and the coffee shop. We had an unofficial poll going that 50% of the people that came in the coffee shop had no idea that we had all this extra space. And so now, like overnight, we're 4 times as big as we were. And it was the right move. But it takes a little bit of vision. It takes a little bit of risk. It takes a whole lot of money. You're going to put your money where your mouth is when it comes to small business. And being an entrepreneur means that you're taking those calculated risks, and you know who you can rely on to pull things off. You know what's not going to work. And then sometimes you just kind of push a rock uphill until it gets some traction too. So,
Well, we're excited about this venture for you.
thank you. We are too.
We really are. Tia, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Tell kind of, I did not realize that Joey originally was from this area, but tell us kind of about your story. And I think you said you did move back about 7 years ago. But I think what impressed me about you is, you've heard me say this before, if we could clone you and your business, how you have done it, and really teach that to other businesses, because you and Joey have done it absolutely, in my mind, right. Not just for downtown, but what we need for downtown, but North Augusta. So, but first, before we get into all that, tell us about you and Joey. Why North Augusta? When did it say, hey, let's start a business? Why the business you did? And just kind of tell us what's happening.
Sure. So Joey grew up here, graduated from Augusta Christian. His mom taught at Augusta Christian, so most of his family was here. But we met in the Charleston area. We've both been in food and bev our whole lives and have an absolute love for it. I'm probably a little bit pickier of an eater, but the hospitality is what drives me for everything. And so we met at a restaurant, and a couple years after we got married, we decided to open a restaurant. And so we opened a seafood restaurant, oyster bar in Summerville, South Carolina, in a downtown area that was very similar to this.
I did not know
That's
that.
cool.
Okay.
So we had that for about 3 years, and then I also had a commercial bakery. So while Joey loves seafood and loved all of that, I'm not a seafood eater, so I was like, I've got to find something to do. So I opened a bakery, and I did all our desserts, and I did some desserts for other local restaurants in the area. And so we had that for a few years, and we were getting ready, looking at opening a second location. And I had always loved Augusta, the North Augusta area, coming to visit Joey's family. It always just felt really good here. Somerville honestly never really felt like home. I lived there for about 10 years, and it just never had that right feel. It just felt like a holding place, kind of, even though we had planned to stay there for ever and ever. But we decided to move here when we were getting ready to open our second location. Joey's parents had some health issues, and finally he was like, I think I want to move to North Augusta. And I said, yes, go in. I said, let's sell it all, let's do it. So we did. We sold our house, we sold our restaurant, and we moved here with the intentions to open a second restaurant. Same thing, Shuck and Shack Oyster Bar, just open a second one. And it was one of those things where it's not so easy to listen to God when he's like telling you not what you want to hear, but then you learn a lot of lessons in that. So we were looking at locations. We had, a hefty account because we had sold everything. So money was fine. It was just while we were looking, one thing after another just kept falling through. And finally we said, okay, we're going to take a break from this. And a few months later, COVID hit. And so had we not listened to God and stopped what we were doing, we could have opened or tried to open, and we would have pretty much lost everything because there was no construction during that time. There were no people during that time. You couldn't go out to restaurants. So in the time, it stunk, but it was a huge blessing. And so from then, we've just kind of done what we needed to do. And a few years later, back in 2023, we were approached by his aunt, who owns an olive oil store in Covington, with the opportunity to open a sister store. And we were like, let's see if this is right. We loved the store, and we love his aunt, and so we knew that it could be a successful business. And we were like, let's just see, and we'll go until God stops it. And it just kept rolling and rolling, and this is where we are now. And so we just kind of keep evolving with what the community wants. And I think that's what has made us successful, is we're willing to change.
Now, I will tell y'all, this is a good segue. We'll do this in our intro video as we start promoting the podcast. But most podcasts are done in a studio. And Jen's idea was, we have so much to offer in North Augusta, let's do it on location.
Absolutely.
As much as we can.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing just happened is one of the joys of being on location, But I think it adds a lot of flavor to what we're doing.
I mean, it proves we got options.
And we can roll with the punches.
So I want to start with you on this, because when you opened, you were telling about you moved from Somerville, you came back here, COVID, you decided to go with the olive oil due to Joey's aunt. Okay, tell us a little bit about why downtown? I mean, I'm sure you looked at some other places.
Honestly, we looked at a lot of different places. It's one of those things. This was the first spot we looked at, and I mean, we've been here for 7 years. And
you live in North Augusta.
Live in downtown North Augusta, so we drive down Georgia Avenue all the time. And honestly, we never really looked at Georgia Avenue, so we didn't even know that there were a lot of storefronts. Like, you see them, but you don't see them, And so we were looking on LoopNet. We saw that place, went and looked at it. But it needed a lot of work, and we just wanted to see what else was out there. So we looked at places over at the Evans Town Center. We looked in Grovetown. We looked everywhere, and it just kept pulling me back to that spot. And I loved the fact that it was close to our house, that we would be investing in our community. We didn't really know what the store was going to look like. We knew what Cindy's olive oil store was, and so we had a general idea, but we also knew we loved hospitality, and we wanted it to be a place where people could gather, and that just felt right. It just had the feeling that was supposed to be where we're supposed to be, and so we went with it. And I couldn't imagine being anywhere else, especially after that car came through the front of our building and getting to know everyone on a much better level. Like, that wouldn't happen anywhere else, where we had all of our other merchants downtown that have now become great friends. Like, they were at the store cleaning up before I even got there. Like, they were there protecting it, making sure no one got inside. And then they stayed until 12:30 getting plywood for us, cleaning up everything. They brought brooms. Like, at one point I looked around and I was like, I don't have anything to do, because everyone was doing so much stuff. And like, you're not going to get that anywhere else. That is specific to North Augusta.
I'm not finished. I'm not ready to finish what you're saying, but that's a great segue. Tell folks the story of what happened, and you talk a little bit, but talk about the impact of the community there, because I think it's really important. So the people, not everybody knows what happened.
Oh yeah.
So tell the story.
Maybe there's some cutaways that we.
I know. Yeah. Well, yeah. I know. I got some good video of that too.
She'll be able to do it. Yeah.
I have the CCTV. So not last March, but the March previously, at about 8:30 at night, we had a drunk driver, unfortunately, hit a parked car and sent it through the front of our storefront. Literally through the front. Fortunately, the way our store is set up, it didn't hit any olive oil or vinegar or wine or any of our products. And I need to leave an Amazon review for our table legs because they didn't even get damaged, even though they went flying across the room. But so a car came through, and I actually got the call from Jesse over at Shop 3130 before the cops were even knocking on our door, telling me what happened. And we came down, and by the time we got down here, I mean, all of our local neighbors, everyone was standing around. Of course, you're curious what's going on, but also just making sure that no one was going in our store. And then while we were dealing with the police and figuring everything out, they were going to Lowe's and getting plywood because obviously we had to close up our storefront to protect it. And they went and got plywood. They went and got tools. They came back with brooms and everything. I mean, they cleaned our entire store that night. Almost. We were still finding a little bit of glass here and there, but cleaned everything up, helped us secure everything. We had probably 10 people there till 12:30 at night, getting it all buttoned up. And at this point, I mean, we just opened in September. So I had met a lot of these people and knew them through the Merchants Alliance and through North Augusta Forward, but I didn't really like know them. And then for them to just come and stay all night long helping us clean up and making sure that we're secure and making sure that we don't need anything. I was like, what a giant blessing. Like, how do you find these people? And I didn't do anything special to deserve it. So it was just, I'm not the type of person to go out and ask for help. So if they wouldn't have been there, I wouldn't have asked for any help. Joey and I would have done everything ourselves that whole entire night. Nobody would have known. It wouldn't have been a big deal, but they were all just there to support us. So,
well, I will tell you, I will disagree with you that, and that's what I'm saying. What I'm seeing from both of you is, in the short period of time you were open, you did make an impact on people. And I think you talk about the Merchants Alliance and folks around here, they saw that investment and your commitment. So again, that to me is what it's all about, is when we get business owners that commit and they start impacting the community around them, then the community in turn impacts them positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
A great example. So you did make an impact, trust me.
Well, good. And I tell people, because folks come in all the time and they're, interested in putting businesses down here. And I try to encourage as many people as I can. And I say, you're not just buying into a location, like you're buying into a community. You're investing in a community, and they, in return, will support you.
So let me ask you, because this is I see both of y'all have done a little differently, but one common thread is that when y'all opened the olive oil store, about a year afterwards, you kind of revamped and said, hey, let's change the name, let's refocus a little bit. Tell about that, and then I'm gonna let Brad share, because that's kind of what he's doing also. So tell about what got you changing your mind, because most people within a year don't change the name and maybe add things that they're normally doing. So talk us through that.
Well, when we first opened, we knew we wanted to make it like Cindy's store in Covington. And so we had some of the same products, but as the community has really come out and shown support, and we've kind of just evolved to fill a need that they have, we've added so many more things. And we were Town Square Olive Oil and Wine, but we end up doing so much more than olive oil and wine. And especially with the franchise, you go to Chick-fil-A, you're going to get the same thing at every single location. Yeah. We didn't really have a lot of the same things anymore at that point. And we do charcuterie and we do catering, and there's just so many different aspects. So I really felt like we were putting ourselves inside a box with that name, and missing out on a lot of people that wouldn't necessarily come into our store or look us up if they weren't looking for olive oil and wine. And we've added candy, we've added
Love the candy.
We do the charcuterie. And it was funny because I was thinking about it when Brad was talking about what his youngest, entrepreneurship. And when I was in the 7th grade, that was my first entrepreneurial role, is I would take people's candy orders and then go and buy all my candy in bulk and come back to school and distribute the candy.
Candy's got a great markup on it. Yes, you can make some margin there.
It does. It was very successful. And so it makes a lot of sense. If you can evolve with the community and what they're asking for, they want to come out and support. They want a place that they can come out and hang out that's family friendly, and they can just relax and feel safe and know that nothing crazy is going to happen if they have their kids with them, besides a car maybe coming through the window. But
I'm going to get to Brad in a minute, but both of y'all offer this because if you don't know, you need to find out is, it amazed me, a lot of businesses aren't like this. You don't have a problem if somebody wants to go next door and get a pizza. They can come in and order a glass of wine and a beverage or whatever. And that's what I'm saying is, you realize that I'm not just selling a product, I'm really trying to sell an environment of community.
That's right.
And because like I told you the other day, the young lady I saw walking down the street and I yelled out to her, I bet you're going to the Grove because I've seen her 3 times and she has a path, But not all businesses are so focused on the business and the product. I think they miss out on how important community. And when you get people hanging out, guess what they're going to end up doing? Spending money, right?
Absolutely. I joke, just to insert, I joke with Frank and Donna over at Antonio's all the time that Cavaliers is the unofficial outdoor seating area for Antonio's. Plenty of people will go and get a pie from them and come over here and sit down, buy a bottle of wine from us, sit in the courtyard, kids playing, drawing on the sidewalk. Same with you. That's what we're fostering. We're fostering a lifestyle downtown and in the community where a rising tide lifts all boats.
Okay. So, Brad, tell me a little bit about, you mentioned it already, kind of what you've done, the reason, what you added to, but kind of go a little bit more detail about when you were doing your due diligence. Was that one of the things that stood out? You kind of knew going in, hey, we're going to need to expand it. I want to make this more of not that we're pushing alcohol on TV, but the point is we are. But the point is, talk more about how intentional you were. And again, you look at Cavaliers was very successful. It was already a melting pot. People are hanging out. People have their nooks. Oh, yeah. Have my coffee. You were talking to Sharon off camera about that. But you saw, hey, how can I make it even better? So talk about that.
Yeah. So due diligence, I had the blessing of a good period of time where I was working on the details, analyzing the numbers, and looking at what was there to kind of leverage. And if you study coffee shops, you'll realize that coffee shops don't make a lot of margin. I mean, we're selling, in general, a $5 or $6 latte. It's not Neiman Marcus, right? There's not a lot of big fluff in there. So, you got to find other ways to create revenue streams. And there were revenue streams just kind of laying around that we could activate. Some of those were in the beverage, in the beer and wine side of the house. Some were in extending the event rental capability. And honestly, I went kind of back and forth on that when I was first coming into this. I even wrote on the little bio sheet, like, less event rentals. And it's still up there. But we've already booked like 10 event rentals for the next 2 months. I hired an event coordinator. But that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, you got to read the community. You got to hear what they want. So I could have the best plan in the world, but if I'm tone deaf to what everybody's asking for, then that won't work. So in due diligence, we looked at the beer and wine aspect, we looked at the courtyard, we looked at the event rental piece, and we looked at just ways to diversify from just coffee and tea, and also to expand the space so that we could do more volume of coffee and tea. So even if you were landlocked into just the coffee tea aspect, like, do more with what you got. How do you do more with it? Well, it was a little bit of a postage stamp of a coffee shop, but until Monday when we knocked the wall out.
Really, it was dead space.
It was dead space. We had an unofficial poll that 50% of the people that came in Cavaliers did not know that the other room existed. And some of them would venture down the hallway and find the courtyard, but that was about it.
They never took a left.
Never took a left. You got to take a left. get all adventurous and go exploring. But now it's like, it almost feels like, and I don't know the actual math off the top of my head, but it feels like we're about 3x or 4x the size that we were. And it was just simply having the vision to take a wall out and kind of lean into that other space literally. But yeah, that's some of the changes that we were looking at in the due diligence phase, and now we've been able to execute with the blessing of a great staff. We've been able to execute on some of this stuff really quickly.
So my takeaway from both of you is, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you're really listening and observant, because you both said we let our customers tell us what the trends are. You know, it's kind of like when we talk about downtown streetscapes. The reason why we know the crosswalk between Sheila's and Parks and Pink Dipper, that we aren't saying that's where it is. You and I
That's right.
are telling us, because we're seeing the traffic, and in a sense, that's what your customers told you. I got to be more than olive oil. I've got to be more than a coffee shop.
Yeah, you can read the data all day long. You can look at the transactions and see what's going on, but you also got to have an ear. You got to be out in the space. You got to be talking to the people. We had a great event last night. We had a wine tasting, and with help from the Grove, we had some great charcuterie, and we put it on the folks that were there. And if they're watching the podcast, they know that they're on the hook for being the wine influencers for the summer white menu at Cavaliers. We said, hey, these are the wines we're going to explore tonight. We want you to tell us which ones you would like for us to carry, because this is your community. You're going to be the ones that come back. If this one resonates with you, that's what we'll put on the menu. And if you don't like it, we'll pitch it.
And we'll give you a gold star because you used the word explore.
There you go.
All right, so
I didn't know we were getting gold stars.
It's on now.
you may get 2 podcast shirts. So Tia, you talked about the Merchants Alliance. So I'm going to make a generalization here, and I may be off on this, you correct me or not. A lot of communities have, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, talk about the Merchants Alliance, why it's been so critically important. Because the Chamber does wonderful things, okay? But that's not what the Merchants Alliance is. They are not a Chamber of Commerce. They are not a Main Street America, okay? They are literally y'all, the merchants. But not every community has the vision to form a merchant alliance. And so talk about why that has been so helpful to both of you, and you first.
Yeah, when we owned our restaurant in Somerville, which was very similar to our downtown here, it was an up and coming. And so we were one of the first people to put our business down there, and then it blossomed in this beautiful community. But they didn't have a Merchants Alliance, and we actually were doing everything on our own. We were part of several chambers, but we didn't know anybody there. No one really supported us. So when we moved here and opened this place, we didn't expect to get any support from anybody either. We didn't really know that that was an option or something that was done. And so when I was invited to the Merchants Alliance meeting, I almost didn't go because I don't I'm always shy and I didn't really know anybody. And but I went, and it was amazing how there's this whole community that really just wants to support each other. And for several meetings, I didn't even really talk. I just kind of listened and learned so much about the different trends in downtown North Augusta and what the clientele is and how other businesses have been run, things that they've changed. So it was just a really good opportunity to ask a lot of questions eventually and figure out how we were going to run our business, and then having people get excited about your business too. So it's, even though I'm there day to day, and I've got Joey, who, backs me in everything that I do, but he's still not there every single day. But these people are there to ask questions and bounce ideas off of, and to get excited every single time you have an event and every time you make a change. Yeah. And, it's awesome having a company that we don't pay anything to be part of that membership. It's just there. It's just a free resource that we can use to support each other and to learn from. And I treat it as kind of like a mentorship program, because I ask a lot of questions.
A little bit like a think tank sometimes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Because a lot of businesses you have to go to a convention, yet you're going to some place to get that. And what I love is it's being run by y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the merchants themselves.
You know, we're cross-checking each other's event schedules.
Yeah.
We're like leveraging each other as far as like, hey, you know, Orange Otter's got a thing coming up. They're doing this. They did a little. It wasn't a hunt that they did.
Yeah, scavenger hunt. I love that thing.
So they did a scavenger hunt, and we're like, what do we need to do? Because I had never participated in some of those things before, but that planning meeting of getting the alliance together, you learn what everybody else is doing. You can kind of help each other kind of get along.
Okay. Let me ask you this. So we hear citizens, we all say, you know, I want more whatever. I want more restaurants. I want more shops, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Give a little perspective of people. And then we're talking in terms of small business, but I don't care. You could say the same concept with big box.
Yeah.
People help educate us that it's not just as simple as, oh, we need that. Oh, okay, let me just walk in, put a sign up and do it.
Absolutely.
That, you know, kind of, so help talk to us about.
Oh man, I could do a TED talk on this.
Well, don't do a TED, but do the T of TED.
TED talk.
But help educate us about that, if you would.
So I'll try to keep it simple, but it is a very layered situation. And the big brands that some people think that they want in here will never come, because you've got those big brands in Aiken and in Martinez, Evans area on those exits. And those traffic patterns have been studied by boards and billionaires.
They have a circle of density.
Have a circle of density, and they will not take the risk that Tia and I will take, because we'll take the risk to try it out and do that exploration. Another gold star, explore. But the big box folks, they can't do that. They've got a board, they've got guidance, they've got requirements. And if it doesn't meet that traffic density, they're never going to pull it. And if they were already at Aiken, right, they're not going to double down and just come down to North Augusta. The traffic, the investment doesn't make sense for them. But you're able to see non-strip mall, non-big box, non-corporate entities and logos, because we're willing to take our 401ks, our savings, willing to convince my beautiful, wonderful Mandy teacher wife of mine to like, hey, take another risk in me. I want to go do this. She goes, you're not Best Buy. You can't do that. No, that's not how it works. We circle around the kitchen table and figure out, what does everybody want? Well, I can't be Lizard's Thicket, but I can be the best Cavaliers ever, right? And now I'll put my money behind that, and I'll show up and I'll work that. But it is a multi-layered thing. It's not just data; it's also heart. And you can't buy that. You can't call up corporate and say, "Hey, we really love your sandwiches or your biscuits. Why don't you bring a Cracker Barrel down here?" They'll just say, "Hey, look, man, that's we've explored that, but we're not able to take that risk. That doesn't work out for us." So we take the risk.
I love it. Tia, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of it's more heart than data, because we want to build a community that we want to live in, that we want to play in, that we want to have families in. And it is hard, even when you have a good concept. When you're a storefront that's selling a commodity that people aren't using on a daily basis, you're requiring a lot of people to come into your store to make you successful. And North Augusta, honestly, is not that big. It's a very small town. And so it's not just relying on people in North Augusta. It's also relying on people from Grovetown and Evans and Aiken and all over to come and visit us. And that's one of the things with like the Explore North Augusta and the tourism department. I was telling someone the other day, I was like, I actually had someone from the tourism department come in and say, hey, what do you need from us? How can we support you more? And I'm like, I'm doing a terrible job, because they asked me for a logo a long time ago when we changed it, and I haven't even given them that. I'm like, but they're doing everything they can to support us. And they got my logo and have thrown it out there. And it's not just about just our local area. It's about other people coming in also to support us, and it's very hard, and it's scary, and it is, you know, all of your pennies
Oh
poured
yeah.
into your community. But the reward, if you can stick it out, the reward is so awesome because you meet so many people. And I have lived here for 7 years. We've only owned this business less than 2. And I never knew any of these folks before. And it's amazing the relationships that we've been able to build with just folks right around us that come in consistently, and you learn their families and you learn their pets and you learn everything about them and what they like. And you're just a part of their lives and they're a part of yours.
And I'd be remiss if I wouldn't, mention that it's also a little bit so we talked about data, we talked about heart, and it also partly faith, right? I've had to have a lot of faith to execute on this. My family's had to have a lot of faith in me, and I have found that, by just listening and following that path, that all of the right people have shown up at the right time. And you can't do that in corporate America. That's not how it works. But when you put that risk out there, you put that faith in a little bit of a higher power and rely on yourself to go execute the plan that's been given to you as a vision, it'll all work out.
It's funny, my favorite verse in Psalm basically says, what a man puts in his heart, it's the Lord that establishes his steps.
Love that.
And it's funny, and I appreciate you both saying this, because you heard me say it. You both talked about, which I really love, because you don't hear business talk about heart. And I think that is why we're saying a downtown, that is it. A downtown is the heartbeat of a community.
It is.
It's not just a phrase, and thank you both for saying that, because I didn't prompt you. That was just internally what it is, and that's what's so beautiful. I love that. Thank you. Yeah,
absolutely. I know that's been an elephant in the room, some conversations lately online, but the reality is that your downtown is a catalyst for all the growth in all the other areas. You can't just pick up and go drop something into one little area. We realize that from data patterns and those type of things, but also this defines a lot of the characteristics that overflow into the other neighborhoods and into the rest of the community. And so it's a critical part.
So let me ask you this, moving forward, be honest, what are you, as far as a city perspective, what does that look like as far as what do you think downtown businesses, and I'm talking about downtown because that's where we are, that's what this is about. What are the downtown businesses? Where, as a community, as a city, as a municipality, what does that role look like? What do we need to be doing? What is that? I feel like we've got some things we're trying to do.
I think you're doing a lot of stuff right, for sure.
What is that responsibility to where, because my other question I was going to ask you was, you had to have challenges, and I know you were very kind to say with the kegger, everything was nice, but I know as a municipality, we can't always do backflips over everything you want to do, and we probably, you just can't do it on everything. But anyway, so just kind of talk me through where do we need to be as a community, as a city moving forward? What do I need to know as mayor? What does our council need to know? What are the things that we need to be having conversations and make sure we're thinking properly, just like y'all listen to your citizens, to your customers? We need to be listening to you. What maybe is out there that we aren't thinking about, or maybe we are thinking about it, and that's good. I don't know.
I can't, in this venture so far, I can't say any one particular thing or tactical thing, but I will say that, look back 4 or 5 years ago and look where you are now as government, you've definitely become more pro-business, pro-small business. I mean, you're taking efforts to rewrite planning guidance, signing guidance, traffic study that's going on. Like, you're listening, and that's huge. A lot of times the government can't listen or won't, and and I'm not just here to stroke all the great things that you're doing, but I haven't come across anything yet that I would complain about. If I did, you'd hear me. I've got a big voice, but I haven't run into anything negative so far. taxes are okay. Parking, we've increased the volume of coffee. I don't know about the parking situation. I think we create a lot of the parking problem here. But no, everything's okay so far.
I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna let Tia respond, but I'm gonna come back to about parking in a minute. So hold on. Yes, ma'am. And not necessarily your own business per se, but just you're investing downtown. I mean, you want the whole downtown to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, we do. And I have a lot of folks coming in and asking about the process for starting a business and how expensive it is. And I always go back to, I'm an analytical person. So I'm like, create a business plan, figure it all out before you even get started. So then you're set up for success. But a lot of times they don't even know where to go to get certain information for business licensing and taxes and all of that. I think it would be a great idea to have just like a business liaison that people can contact that will tell you these are the steps, this is an order of what you go, especially when renovating or pulling permits. Yeah, just someone that can guide you to whoever you need to talk to correctly without wasting a bunch of time. And we used the facade improvement grant, which was amazing, but I looked on, I never even knew about that until our awning guy told me about it, which is fantastic, and kudos for him because he made a bunch of money off of it. But just having all of those resources kind of out there in the open just to make it easier for people so they can move a little bit faster. And I think for a lot of businesses, one of the hurdles that everyone kind of says they're not really sure about downtown is Georgia Avenue and the parking and how much of a speedway it is and all of that, which I know all of that is kind of being worked out. So we're looking forward to that. I know we've had technically 2 cars hit our our storefront in the last couple of years. So if that slanted parking goes away, they might not come directly through. So
let me ask you this: talking about parking. So I'm gonna make a statement, and feel free to disagree with this. Okay. You know, there have been studies done, and Brad, you remember this back when we were the Greenway years ago. Yeah. But North Augusta at one point was graded one of the lowest communities for walkability, as far as we are. If I can't pull in front of the business, I'm literally not going to go to the business.
Right.
And I will tell people, and Pat and I, Carpenter, we disagree on this and laugh back and forth about it, but I don't think we have a parking problem in the sense that, think about the Christmas parade.
We have an expectation problem.
There's not a single, now think about the Christmas parade is packed. Yeah. Do you know where people park Christmas? They park down all the way to Creighton Park. Yeah. People will walk. Have you been to any other community in South Carolina? Nobody in Charleston do you go and pull up in front of your business. So now I understand there are situations with handicaps and we got to have parking, but I just don't, no one's been able to debate it for me to accept the notion that we have a parking problem. There is parking. You just may have to walk a block, but that's okay.
You're right. There's an expectation problem. There's an expectation problem that you could just pull up and walk right in. And if you've been here like I have all my life, you remember back in the day that was a possibility, that you could just park at the front door and kind of walk on in. Now, we've had, I think, educated and controlled growth. We haven't grown overnight like, a couple of exits down on the Georgia side. Like, we know what we're doing with the growth plan, and it's thoroughly thought out. But with that, we probably as citizens have to adjust our expectations, and maybe it's good for our healthy lifestyles to walk around a little bit, it'll be okay, that you got to walk a little bit to get there. We got people that walk up to Cavaliers from Hammond's Ferry all day long. It's not a big deal, but I can get, like, if you were used to pulling up to, say, Jordan Hardware, back in the day and pulling into the front spot and walking on in, that era is gone. You gotta walk it a little bit.
It also might, as more businesses come downtown and we have more storefronts, people might get over that a little bit more, because then you're walking past a lot of pretty storefronts and you're able to window shop, and it's a more enjoyable walk versus walking past a bunch of professional services. So as it changes, it might get a little bit easier.
I've been to other towns.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I've been to other towns with downtown fronts like ours, where that main strip right here, is not a thoroughfare, right? It is just pedestrian walking and window shopping and that type of thing. So, we're blessed that we get the best of both worlds, but you got to have a little trade-off.
It's funny, early on you were talking about when y'all were looking to locate a business, you never thought about George Avenue downtown because you ride by it and you really don't, their storefronts, you don't think about it. That is thank you for saying that. That's why we're trying to slow
it down.
Yeah.
Because I had a conversation with a mutual friend of ours, okay, the other day, and his response was, yeah, but what about people going to the hospital? I said, this person, I said, yes, there is an exit that way. We have made this a thoroughfare. The city, Charles Martin will tell you that if you start going down past Lookaway with the lights on, it looks like an airline runway.
Right.
Okay, we have made this a thoroughfare and we have programmed our citizens, and I'm just guilty, point A to point B as fast as I can get.
Sure.
But that will not, we can't support your businesses. Your businesses aren't going to thrive, and the ones that we need, like y'all here, if you see these cars going past us,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
it will not happen.
No. The secret to everything is palmetto trees. You just need more palmetto trees and caffeine. Plant more palmetto trees in the middle of the median. Come get your coffee. That's all we need. It'll slow it down.
All right, let me ask you this. Y'all are dreamers. So dream with me for your business. I mean, really, what do you see, where do you see your business 10 years? I mean, what is Cavaliers, do you think, in 10 years looks like? Where is the Grove? I mean, if you can respond, you may say, I don't know, but what does it look like in 10 years?
Ladies first.
Honestly, who knows? I would love to expand.
Okay.
I would love to have more candy because that's always been my true love. So Joey says he wants to open up a butcher shop next door. So who knows? We might take up multiple spaces and just be a giant market down here.
That'd be awesome.
We'll just see where it goes.
Okay.
That's my two food groups, candy and meat. I'm rocking that.
Throw in the beer and wine, and man, you're in hog.
We're in the hog heaven. Absolutely. We're recording this, and I think I've been here like maybe 8 weeks that I've owned this business. So to ask me what I'm seeing 10 years, don't really have a grasp on that just yet. I will certainly read the tea leaves, literally, and see where they kind of take us. But I do know that we can support, from a data standpoint, a drive-through version of Cavaliers somewhere in the city at some point. Starbucks doesn't need to be the only one with that moniker, or Dunkin' Donuts. And so to serve more people, to do some outpost kind of ventures, I think we could see that in short order. Also got some ideas of some delivery and some online orders, being rolled out here shortly.
Okay. Well, let me ask y'all this. So think about, are you able to tell yet, we've had our downtown and we've had a Riverside Village, and close to each other, but really been separate worlds. Beacon Bluff, I think, is going to be is a connection piece now. Okay. I guess my question to you, and maybe this is the future part of what does it look like as a business owner, as a city, the importance of, you talked about someone from Hammond's Ferry walking up here to get a pizza or whatever. We've got to connect. I think connecting Riverside Village to Beacon Bluff to downtown, that's got to be a natural progression. Yeah. That's got to be, I'm down there at the Mexican restaurant eating dinner, but I want to come up here because I may want to have a cocktail or a swing by and get a bag of candy for my sweet tooth. Yeah. It needs to be, this is a district, but it needs to be a seamlessly flow. We're not there yet. So that is where I want to see us in 10 years. I want this to be a seamless flow.
Yeah, I mean, just to throw a little history lesson, there used to be a trolley that ran through downtown. I don't know if we ever get back to that, but in some of the older North Augusta history.
Well, guess what?
We had a trolley.
We know we bought a trolley.
Yeah.
And guess what we're going to?
I'm talking about one on rails. Back in the day, it was on rails. Ours is way better now. I love that trolley, man. That's fun.
So the goal is, with the new trolley, is what we want to do is at least start on the weekend, at least Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and have a run from here, Riverside Village. So take the third Thursday, execute a little bit, Beacon Bluff stop in the Riverside Village, and have that running. And let's just see, to test it, to say, will citizens benefit from it?
You got to explore it.
But that's where I see that we got to have the seamlessness to where we are separate districts, but
it's closer than you think. Yeah, it's
got to be close.
Yeah, it's not as separated as, you know, two different islands. There's a connector there. Beacon Bluff's going to do a lot for that. That trolley could do a lot for that as well.
When you think about downtown Greenville, I mean, it's a good with, but it's a connection. Just one section, next section, next section. That's where we got to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that trolley would help us a lot because crossing Georgia Avenue is not the easiest. We always tell people to go up to the crosswalk and cross, but then you got to go up to go down. And so that would make a day shopping experience for people.
All right, this is fantastic. I want to thank both of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your investment, North Augusta. Thank you for your kindness, your friendship, wanting to make a difference in where you live, which is huge. So these two, they're just two. There are a lot more than these two, but this is an example of what makes North Augusta the incredible community we are. And just real thankful both Tia and Brad for taking their time today. So hope you learned a little bit about how a small business can have a big impact as you explore all things North Augusta. Have a good one. Thank you.
Down by the river where the stories unfold, North Augusta's got a heart of gold, a hidden gem, one of a kind. Come explore, see what you'll find. Catch a ball game, hear the cheer. Events held throughout the year. Take a stroll where the greenway lies. Feel the history, let it shine. Or don't just visit, come and stay. Feel the magic every day. From river views to golden hues, North Augusta welcomes you. So come on down, take a ride. Let the river be your guide. South Carolina's shining bright. North Augusta feels just right.